Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another instant reaction episode of Silo by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with episode 5, titled Descent.
Yeah.
And lots of descending in this episode, Zach. Lots of descending. Descending in both silos. Moral descending. Physical illness descending. All sorts of descending.
Yeah.
Almost no ascending. Almost.
A little bit.
Almost.
We ascend to descend.
Only to descend right back down with a very violent winch that I think like ripped off Knox's shoulder blade, like straight off his back.
It looks like getting hit with a cable like that could cut you in half. But it just sliced his back. I guess he's good. Better than Juliet at the moment.
This is where like a good episode of Mythbusters would come in handy. Would taking a winch full speed down about 100 flights
break your back, bro?
Paralyze you.
Yeah. I'd say that's plausible.
Maybe now we know what Knox asked the guy, the wheelchair bound guy in the blacksmith. Maybe he was asking him for another chair.
Okay.
Maybe.
Hey, bro. I just have this feeling. Can you make me a wheelchair?
Yeah, I may need one of those if I have to take a winch down. Which, by the way, all of a sudden crane technology exists. All of a sudden, all these relics. And then if we go one episode, we got a VR damn headset. The next, we got a winch that now we can do. You know, we can pretty much use an elevator in a sense in the silo.
Well, you know what's interesting? The fact that there was a winch in the silo, there was some mechanized travel up and down that seems to have been used at some point.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if that has always been the rule inside of the silo, or if some faction has taken over at some point and invented the pact after these silos existed.
Well, we find out some new things about IT. Apparently, there's like 3 sections of the silo that have random lines jutting out from them because Lucas Kyle gets to escape the mines. Essentially, he spends a single day in the mines after he has his sentence cut in half. And then he pulls I don't even know how the hell he did this, but he put the drive back together, which I guess wasn't that difficult because the entire drive was intact. Just the outside casing was pretty much shattered, right?
Seemed like it, yeah.
Just plugged it in, pretty much.
I mean, there could have been like, I don't know, scratches or whatever on it from Bernard beating the drive to death. But
was it convenient? Yes. Was I happy that we actually got we got immediately to the Salvador Quinn thing and that they're not leaving this maybe for episode 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also happy that we're not wasting time with that. Next episode does feel like it's going to be a waster. I will say that.
It's going to be
yeah, I think so.
You know, I feel like I think you're kind of right. I feel like next episode is just going to be the whole, man, every time you get like the hero of your show, they go off, they get hurt. There's always this one episode where they're just like laying, like I'm thinking Joel from Last of Us.
Yeah.
Where, you know, he gets wounded and he's just down for the count for like solid 2
That was a great episode though. That was a great episode. One of them. One of them was a fantastic episode.
One of them was good. They did at least do that pretty well. It was nice to focus.
Downhill after that. The rest of the season downhill after that.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I kind of think you're right. I feel like next episode we're gonna get that like, okay, Juliet clearly needed some antibiotics or something throughout this entire episode, so she's gonna be with the fever out. And look, I will say at least I think this is one thing kind of playing out in my favor a little bit with the whole. I don't think she's gonna have to convince Solo to let her into.
Whoa! That was my thing. I said that Solo was going to have to let her in to like take care of her or something like that. I literally said that like in the last episode, didn't I?
No.
I said there might be a scenario. Didn't I say this? That she might get sick or something like that and then he would have to bring her in?
You said she would have to convince him to let her in. I said I don't think so. I think he's just going to actually end up letting her in because they were kind of growing to become pals. No, anybody that's listened to this episode, you want to fact check us? Please let me know.
That's why I said.
If I'm wrong and somebody calls me out, I'll say I'm wrong. I'm not but I'm not wrong. So
I wish we were a bigger show that there would be somebody listening right now that could just instantly fact check this like right now. But I could have swore we didn't have a bet on anything.
No, we didn't have a bet. I think my bet I'm definitely out for. The feeling of somebody else being in the silo has kind of gone away, especially in this episode. Like there's just not this ominous figure that feels like he's walking around behind everybody. So that fear is kind of gone. So I think you're gonna take that one home. We didn't bet on the whole Juliet into the silo thing, or getting into the IT room, but I definitely think she's gonna end up waking up in there, and Solo's just gonna be over her taking care of her.
Or is it Solo?
With
what's his real name?
That's the other great question. Yeah. Well, Cole, I think is what he said his name was in this episode. But again, who knows if that's
Have you seen Suicide Squad?
No, I have not.
It's like a remake of one. And there's like this character he has like the stupidest power ever, but it's like wildly dangerous. He like has a bunch of like colorful, it's like gumballs. I can't remember the movie very clearly, but there's a scene where he gets killed, I think. And he's not an important character. And everybody who's the like main character in the movie is like, we lost so-and-so. He's like, who? Who's that? He was with us the whole time? Yeah, he just died. And it's like, just the most random person. I was wondering, maybe that's who your mystery Silo 17 person's going to be. They're just going to pop up and then just be irrelevant almost immediately.
There was a very, very brief moment in this episode when Juliet was walking through the rooms trying to find this helmet. I was like, if somebody just like comes out of a closet or something, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, you're thinking like somebody else like just pops out of like the little closet in the apartment she's in and just does like first aid for her?
Yeah.
That'd be your only hope at this point.
Well, actually, I think my only other hope at this point is really somebody else living in the IT room with Solo. I still think that I think there's a possibility. I'm holding out for this.
That would count. And I do think that's your best hope. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else in the greater silo at this point.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think she's gonna. So we find out about the tunnel on the bottom of the silo, right? And Solo has this impending problem, which is that the water's rising. He has 13 months pretty much before he's dead, right? And I have a feeling that the way this is going to play out is she gets healed by Solo. Something happens to the suit. Maybe Solo doesn't want to lose his only friend, so he like destroys her suit or destroys the helmet or some crap. Maybe. Or maybe she feels indebted to him at this point, so she'll fix the water pump. Discovers the tunnel and goes. I think she goes through the tunnel. She ain't going over ground. That's my opinion, at least.
I mean, I've always thought she was going down to get over, like, down to like that big crater, whatever you want to call that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, seems possible. I mean, there's a hinting of somebody going down, not up now. So nice.
Yeah. Apparently, Sim's wife is like the most fearsome character in all of Silo now. Camille, out of nowhere, she's just turned into this powerhouse, mysterious figure, which is kind of pretty interesting. And I was wondering in this episode when she goes and interrupts the whole arrest of Knox and Shirley on the stairs, I was like, okay, they have cameras everywhere and nobody's seeing this woman. But then I started kind of reverse engineering it in my head and I was like, okay, think about Amundsen here. He knows that Camille's Sim's wife. He likes Sims, right? That's his former boss, but they seem to have a good relationship. He probably doesn't want to go immediately to the SOB, who he knows is a heartless, son of a gun, and Bernard and spill the beans on that. So I thought all of that it didn't get into the, oh, this is ridiculous category. Like, okay, character out of nowhere who's more fearsome than the most fearsome dude in the silo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Probably second most fearsome. I think Bernard is pretty. He's pretty scary right now.
If you know Bernard, he's scary. But if you don't know Bernard, I don't know that he's really a scary guy. He's just more like a mysterious guy. Just kind of thinking back to like the very beginning of season 1, watching him walk out, he wasn't too terrifying.
This show would probably be interesting to rewatch, knowing how in charge Bernard secretly is. To go back and watch season 1 to see him playing dumb and all the things going on. It would probably be an interesting rewatch to go back and do that.
It would. All of his very just curious looking faces as he contemplates every decision everywhere. Yeah, I think that would definitely be interesting. I agree with you on Sims' wife, though, by the way. I mean, I feel like they painted her early in this season to kind of be more of like a very power hungry individual. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, in this season.
I mean, there was hints last season in that one scene with like, you remember why we're doing this?
Yeah.
Which I still want to know what the hell that is. Right? I still would love to know.
Power is my guess. I mean,
Did they just want to be in charge?
Power.
Did they just want to be in charge?
I think she does. Yeah.
To be honest, at this point, I honestly think that the silo will be in better hands if Camille and Sims took over. By the way, I think this was
because
probably,
we're not happy with Bernard.
I think Common, this is probably his best acting performance yet of the season in this episode. If I had to pick one.
It didn't feel like the same note as always, so yeah.
Yeah. Especially when he goes to like his first day on the job as judge. I thought that was a pretty good scene there. He's just not happy with it, and I didn't expect him to be such a. I don't want to call him like controlled by his wife, like whipped by his wife completely.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel like she steers.
Wears the pants. Yeah. It kind of feels like she wears the pants in the relationship. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Sims is formidable as well. However, behind closed doors, he doesn't really seem like the brains of everything.
No.
I think she guides him a lot.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that one. Let's see what else could we talk about here. We had Bernard with the Lucas interaction. Okay, we had an emailer who said essentially that we're smoking crack, that Bernard's gonna have a redemption moment, and I would have to say that maybe they're smoking some crack, because I think Bernard, his one redeeming thing here, unless he gets killed before he's able to have a redeeming moment, this put the drive back together situation is completely a selfish desire. This is a Pandora's box situation. His curiosity has been piqued too much by Meadows. He needs to know what it is that disrupted his life so I think his little redeeming moment will be when he gets that bit of information. And then I think that'll also be what allows Lucas to be set free, in a sense. Because right now, the current plan is to find out this information and then kill Lucas. That is what the current plan is, if I had to guess. Right? He's not going to let Lucas survive.
Not with all of the information that he knows, no.
I think Lucas is actually a solid contender to be Shadow, if you ask me. A very solid contender to be his Shadow.
That could actually, weren't we talking, I feel like a few episodes ago, where like I feel like the Shadow or Bernard's next Shadow is really going to be a character that kind of comes out of left field. I could see that being Lucas. He's very intelligent. If I were Bernard, your options are keep him on your side or kill him. Like, you can't let him loose. Also,
I mean, how does Lucas feel about Juliette right now? You think he likes her still?
I'd hate her guts.
She absolutely destroyed his life pretty much. Yeah.
And his grandmother, I think, too, right? He was watching his grandmother, I think.
There's something like traumatic about Juliette where she confronts Solo in this episode about his lies, and then he goes all, I'm Solo, he does that whole thing.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay. She kind of goes into like fetal position.
Yeah, a little bit.
Juliette, where it's almost like I don't know how to explain it, but she's done it a couple times in this series whenever she's threatened with physical violence. Which, I mean, who wouldn't, I guess? But hers is not like Shirley on the stairs. There's something there that really, that's something part of her character. She's a very tough character, but when it comes to physical confrontation, that is not her game here at all. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, there is that. What do you think? What do you think's going to happen with Shirley and Knox? I mean, the silo is a very interesting place to be a criminal because there's literally nowhere to freaking go.
Well, that's kind of where we get to our last very interesting thing of the episode, which is Billings is going to have a very tough decision to make here. Because now the crap has hit his fan. And now he is going to be responsible for arresting two people who he knows are not guilty. So he's going to have a very difficult decision here, right? Here comes my Game of Thrones reference for the
all right.
episode. This is going to be the good version. Actually, no. This is going to be like when Catelyn Stark, shot her wad and arrested was it Tyrion? Yeah, it was Tyrion, that she kidnapped Tyrion Lannister at the bar. This is gonna be sort of the equivalent of that, but in a good way for Billings. But it's gonna make the war kick off in some sense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like there's definitely a lot at stake for Billings. I mean, I guess to put it a different way, he's got a lot to lose with whatever this decision's going to be. I mean, he's got a wife, he's got a kid, but
he could pull a reverse Uno.
I kind of feel like his mind is made up already. Like I almost feel like he already made that decision. Like, just like Bernard has become morbidly curious. I mean, Billings has as well.
Yeah. And also, what did Kennedy tell him? Right? What did Kennedy tell him so far? Because I think the reverse Uno card here is going to be Billings not saying the arrest of Shirley and Knox, but announcing the arrest of Bernard for killing Meadows or whatever other crime that he committed, like Juliette not saying she wanted to go out. You know, all the things that they could pin. So I think that he could try to take out Bernard, which would cause an all-out civil war.
It would. I mean, not like there's not already one on the verge of happening anyways, but no, that would be an interesting twist. And I don't know. I don't know how that would play out with just like, I guess, the political grounds inside the silo. Just like this, does he even have the authority to arrest everybody, including the head of IT? I don't know, but actually, I could see Sims kind of being on Billings' side. I mean, Sims kind of, I don't want to say he's taken a liking to Billings, but I mean, he has overlooked the syndrome, and it would put him in power.
I've come to the conclusion that this season does not end without Bernard dying. That's what I think happens. And I think that's how we end our instant reaction today.
All right.
You can comment on that and if you want. But
no, I was literally just gonna jump straight to the outro.
All right. Yeah, you'll have to tune into the deep dive. You'll have to join us on the deep dive on Sunday. Subscribe to the show and tell 5 people about the show to know why I think Bernard dies before you.
I want to know. I'm gonna tag a few people. All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Silo by Story Arc, guys. You can find this anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts primarily. You can visit us on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network, visit our website at soapbox.house, email us at contact@soapbox.house, and any other links that you can think of are probably over on our website, so go check it out.